Thank you very much, Karen. Yes, clubs are spending money to try and make sure that they can stay in the Premier League. Time is running out to buy players, but to sell players, windows around Europe will be open beyond the English transfer deadline, which takes place this Thursday. Now, I want to focus on the price of survival, what clubs are spending to ensure that they can stay in the Premier League, and primarily the three promoted sides, Fulham, Wolves and Cardiff. They came up from the Championship last season, and I'd like to start with Fulham. Well, they actually had the least amount of time to prepare because a couple of weeks after the season finished, they had to come up through the playoffs, but that hasn't stopped them spending nearly $90 million on players. 6 acquisitions so far. The most expensive of those is Jean-Michel Sarri from French club Nice. He's come in for a club record of nearly $35 million. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were promoted as champions, maybe surprising to some, but their Chinese owners have backed them again to go into the market. And look at the turnover of players they've got at the West Midlands club. 10 coming in, 19 going out so far. Diogo Jota, the most expensive of them so far, just over $16 million. Just one of several Portuguese players at the club, and a big Portuguese influence at Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've got a Portuguese manager, and behind the scenes, Jorge Mendes, the agent of Cristiano Ronaldo. He seems to be a big influencer there. So many Portuguese players in their first team squad. They've actually got as many Portuguese players as the Portuguese champions, Porto. So clearly having a big influence there. And Cardiff City, well, they've been a bit choosier about how they've spent their money so far this summer. No one has left the club. Only 4 players have come in, and maybe, this is interesting, that none of those players have been signed from other Premier League clubs. So Premier League experience could be interesting and obviously crucial sometimes when it comes to a long and gruelling Premier League season.
You're going to join us?
Yes, I'm on my way back over now.
As they say on all the best game shows in the United States.
Yeah.
So, to what extent are clubs now still sniffing around off the back of the World Cup? And as you look at who's lined up for various clubs at the moment, is there a halo effect from the World Cup still?
Some of those players, yes, there's certainly an idea for that. Not necessarily for these players. They might be shopping in slightly different markets, but at the same time, there were certain players and countries at the World Cup that did have a good time there. But Fulham, for example, they've signed Andre Schürrle. He's a German World Cup winner. Didn't go to the World Cup this time around, but he won the World Cup with them in 2014 with Germany, and he is got Premier League experience as well. He's played for Chelsea, and he's obviously been a hugely experienced player as well there. But Fulham is an interesting case in point because they're owned by the Pakistani-American businessman Shahid Khan. He also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He talking about experience as well, he owned the club when they were in the Premier League last time, and he's had to maybe learn the hard way, being relegated and come back up again. Shahid Khan as well, obviously already put in a bid for Wembley Stadium as well. See how that goes as well. Fulham not being touted as playing there, but it could be interesting to see if he takes his club there.
So wealthy backers, and Fulham of course having had Mohamed Al Fayed as the previous owner, so a series of wealthy backers. How big a difference does this make to the fortunes of the clubs at this point?
Could be huge, because if you just look at the way that Wolves have conducted their business, Fosun International, the big Chinese conglomerate, they own them, and they've got aspirations of playing in the Champions League, and they believe they can get there, and the first part of the plan's already achieved because they've made it into the Premier League. So it's very interesting to see how they get on this season as well.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen, and don't forget to subscribe.